No. Let's get Kraken and see if Medusa can stone the competition or something like that. That doesn't sound right. Anyway, it's time to take one coaster and take another coaster to find out what's the better one. Put some points together through some arbitrary measures and add them up before we're done. And while it should be a given, it's just my opinion. If you don't like it, don't leave a comment, just leave. It's just a stupid video. What's going on, everybody? My name is Mario. This is a channel all about amusement park type stuff, but mostly coasters. And today we're going to try and determine which coaster is better. Medusa at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom or Kraken at SeaWorld Orlando. And before we get into that, the comment section winner of the Hulk vs. Kumba video by surprisingly over 70% was Kumba. But now let's get into this one. Kraken and Medusa are of course B&M Floorless coasters, which are undoubtedly one of the most popular coaster models of the early 2000s. These two are some of the first ones to open, both debuting in 2000. Over 20 years later, these floorless coasters are still regarded as some of the best and remain amongst the top attractions in their respective parks. Now, I personally feel as though I have a pretty darn good feel for both of these coasters, because Discovery Kingdom and SeaWorld Orlando were both my home park at one time or another. Additionally, I actually operated both coasters, providing me an even deeper appreciation for both of these attractions. But enough jibber jabber, it's time for these two coasters to duke it out. For the first round, we're going to be looking at the stats of each coaster. Kraken has a height of 149 feet, and Medusa tops that by one singular foot, coming in at 150. Point Medusa. As far as speed is concerned, both max out at 65 miles per hour, which is weird because you'd think Medusa would be the teeniest bit faster, and it probably is, but the official stats say that both of these coasters are going to get a point. Another category where these coasters are even is the inversions, both coming in with 7 and both earning a point. For track length, Medusa comes up a little short with 3,937 feet, and Kraken measuring 4,177. Point to Kraken. Now, Medusa has a ride duration of 1 minute and 5 seconds, whereas Kraken only has a ride duration of 59 seconds, so Medusa's gonna get the point there. And at the end of this round, Medusa has 4 points and Kraken has 3. Next, we're gonna be looking at ride elements, first comparing each coaster's similar elements, and then adding up each ride's unique elements. Each coaster starts with a first drop, and that first drop starts with a right-hand turn. Although Medusa's turn is much smaller and separate from the drop, whereas Kraken's turn is roughly 90 degrees and blends in with the beginning of the actual drop itself. While I do find Kraken's drop to be more interesting, the stronger and more sustained floater airtime that Medusa provides gives it the slight edge. Point Medusa. The following element for both coasters is a loop that is unfortunately very standard, with Kraken having an advantage in positive G-forces, but Medusa feeling very floaty and more graceful. And for a massive vertical loop, this is personally what I find to be more enjoyable, so point to Medusa. Kraken will make up some ground, however, with its dive loop because it has great whip and some positive G-forces, putting it above Medusa's dive loop that doesn't offer much of anything at all. Point to Kraken. Now, for the zero G-rolls, it is so hard to distinguish a winner, as both provide an impeccable floating sensation, all while aggressively whipping you 360 degrees upside down. These zero G-rolls are so evenly matched, but Kraken's does end with a head chopper, which is just barely enough to give it the edge. Point to Kraken. Next up, we have two similar elements that are not the same but are still very comparable, and that is the Cobra roll for Kraken and the Sea Serpent roll for Medusa. The difference between these two elements is that the train in the Sea Serpent roll continues in the same direction halfway through, whereas the Cobra roll switches directions halfway through the element. Since Cobra rolls are a dime a dozen, Medusa definitely gets props for the Sea Serpent roll being unique, but it honestly does not flow as nicely between the first and second half of the element as Kraken's Cobra roll does. That Cobra roll also has perfect pacing as well as intense positive G-forces and disorienting whippiness. Point to Kraken. The next element is by no means the most noteworthy, and that is the drop off the mid-course brake run, but Medusa's is quite whippy and certainly more exciting, earning Medusa another point. And last up for comparable elements, we have the corkscrews. Medusa has 2 corkscrews and Kraken only has 1, but that one corkscrew that Kraken has is much more intense and disorienting than either of Medusa's, so Kraken gets a point. Now let's go ahead and add up points for each coaster's individual noteworthy elements. Kraken has a very intense turn after its Cobra roll that is definitely more than just a turn, providing great positive G-forces. It also has an additional loop that Medusa does not have, and following that, Kraken has a scenic hill that ends in a decently themed tunnel. Medusa has a couple of helices, the first of which is far from the ride's best element, but it is worth a point nonetheless. Medusa has an additional corkscrew that Kraken does not, so it'll get a point there as well. And one of the most unassuming elements of Medusa is this speed hill. While you might look at this and think of it just as a transition from one part of the ride to the next, it actually provides good floater, making it worthy of another point. Next up is Medusa's second helix, which is a much more notable, low to the ground, slightly forceful final helix. And after all of that, we remain at a 1-point differential between these two coasters, with Medusa at 11 points and Kraken at 10. So let's take a look at the ride experience category to see how that shakes things up. As far as forces are concerned, airtime is obviously the least noticeable for either of these coasters, but Medusa does have a couple of moments whereas Kraken only has the first drop. So Medusa gets the point. Kraken on the other hand provides more positive G-forces, pushing you into your seat for a majority of its elements and seemingly having tighter transitions overall. Point to Kraken. As far as which coaster throws you around side to side more, Kraken will get another point, as Medusa just doesn't have nearly as much whip. Now for pacing, this is probably the toughest one to judge yet, because both rides do a wonderful job of navigating the layout with almost no dead space between elements. Kraken definitely does a better job of having more forces between elements, but Medusa has almost no dead spots at all. The only place it really loses steam is the first helix and mid-course brake run, but it transitions in and out of that brake run so quickly. Kraken takes almost twice as long to travel through its mid-course brake run, giving Medusa the tiniest little edge. Point Medusa. Intensity, on the other hand, isn't even a contest, as almost every element on Kraken is more forceful or whippier than Medusa. Point to Kraken. In contrast, I find Medusa to be the more fun coaster, thanks largely to having less overwhelming positive G-forces and a general floaty and flowy feel, if that makes any sense. Point Medusa. Further adding to Medusa's fun factor is the coaster's comfort, which outmatches Kraken's slightly shakier ride experience. Point Medusa. And with a very close matchup nearing the end, let's see if a couple other categories can make a difference. While I enjoy the off-ride appearance of both coasters, Medusa's colors are not as aesthetically pleasing to me as Kraken's, old or new colors, and Kraken does have new paint whereas Medusa's is quite weathered, so Kraken gets the point. And Kraken's appealing setting also earns it a point. The first half of the ride takes place next to a lake, while the second half is spent diving in and out of trenches. And Medusa's setting is just a parking lot. And now it all comes down to operations. Having seen and experienced my fair share of dispatches from both Kraken and Medusa, I do have to say that on average, Medusa has better operations. So, with a final score of 16 to 15, Medusa takes the cake on this one. I can't say I'm surprised that this was so close. It's always been a toss-up for me which one of these coasters I like better, but what I'm more interested in is which coaster you guys prefer. Go ahead and vote for which coaster you think is better in the comments down below, and the winner will be announced in the next coaster versus coaster video. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe and turn on notifications for more content like this, and make sure to tune in next time for Octopus versus Snake.